knew already that the followers of these different prophets will not actually reconcile, and the different religions are seemingly and apparently incompatible. And in the whole course of the history, there are a few Christians to become Muslims, there are few Muslims to become Christians, and everybody actually keeps his faith and tries to be what he is till the end of his life. So that was actually perhaps the plan of the creator of the world, the plan of the senders of the prophets. Perhaps that was his will for the people to be different, to be diverse. Perhaps actually he respected the law of nature, and he knew that people seldom can lend themselves to conversion, to change their religion so easily. And because of all this, he must be the sole and the first planner of religious diversity and religious pluralism in the whole world of human beings. But this is not the only thing. In the history, you have got different prophets, as I said, and you have got different religions. They are irreducible to each other, and the conclusion of the premises which I put forward is this: that the diversity of religions is the logical consequence of the diversity of religious experience, of the diversity of interpretations of religious scriptures. So it has not been due to the conspiracy of any particular body or any particular community. It has not been due to the stubbornness or the resistance of the people to truth, and it has not been a devilish plan or through some satanic attachments of some people in order to resist the truth. That has not been the case. If you see different religions in the world, and if you see that there are people different, if you see that there are different interpretations of the same text, different religious experiences, you have to think that perhaps it is the requirements of the nature of the case that we have got it. So religious pluralism then shows itself as something very natural, very logical, and not only because of the ignorance of the truth in some cases, but also because of the richness of the truth in some other cases. Because after all, religion is encounter with the multidimensionality of the transcendental reality. Now, coming to terms with this multidimensionality gives you plurality and gives you diversity, which is unavoidable. So now what this means? Does this mean that truth is relative? Does this mean that every and all religions are really true, and through every religion we can attain salvation? Does religious pluralism means that that we cannot have any false religion, any false invitation? Does religious pluralism means pacifism in the case of religion? No invitation, no fighting for making other people's coming or accepting the truth? What does religious pluralism means? It is of course a fact of history, and it is the logic of the religious experience and the logic of the interpretation. So it is inevitable. We cannot escape it. And I think any logical person, anybody who follows the line of the religion in a way, in a scholarly way, rather than through a pure imitation, will understand that ideas are so diverse that even if you confine them to a very few, then you cannot reduce them to a single particular idea. This is very similar to the case in scientific theories. Of course, about every phenomenon in nature you might have different theories, but as philosophers of science has taught us, I mean, theories can be reduced to a few, but usually they cannot be reduced to single one. Therefore, in every age, in every period of science, you will have the phenomena, and you have theories about the phenomena, and theories are always pluralistic and diverse, and a single particular theory about phenomena cannot be found. This is something which the history of philosophy of science also have taught us. So altogether, now in order to relieve you, relativism of truth is besides the point. That is not our issue. What we talk about and what we think about is not the truth in itself, it's truth for us. Okay? So that is the main subject of the issue of religious pluralism or any other kind of pluralism. Any other kind of pluralism. So the issues of postmodernity and relativism and truth and all that is beyond this discussion. I am not touching the truth in itself. I am not claiming that truth is relative. And actually, if you would like me to unveil my belief, this whole business of relativism or relativity of truth is a very dangerous truth itself, which has to be avoided. And I particularly do not subscribe to that idea, and I think that there are very good reasons to topple that idea, and we need it. But nevertheless, we should not engage ourselves in that debate, and my idea of pluralism, be it a scientific or a religious one, is not based on the plurality or the relativity of truth in itself. It is based on the idea of plurality or relativity of truth for us. Because after all, truth is something which is related to us. If we do not take into consideration our connection with truth, truth will become reality. Reality is a different thing. But when we have some kind of relationship of connection with the reality, then the idea and the whole issue of truth and falsity will arise. I am talking about truth for us, not truth for in itself. And truth for us, of course, is relative. There I do subscribe to the relativity of truth, and it is really relative, because when you look at the reality from this angle and another one looks at the reality from another angle, they will come to different conclusion, and this is very logical and very natural. Suffice it to be consistent. I mean, of course, relative truth also should be consistent. We cannot cope with an inconsistent system of truth, inconsistent system of ideas. All truths are familiar, all truths are friends, and all truths are consistent. Inconsistency means contradiction, and means that there is some sort of falsity which has penetrated, infiltrated into your system, and you have to be aware of that. But once you have got a consistent system, then you can be sure that at least you are nearer to truth, and you can follow it up in order perhaps to get closer and closer to truth. Therefore, the idea of relativity of the truth for us here is at stake, and we subscribe to it, but not the idea of the relativity of truth in itself. Second point is this, that in the case of religion, the whole meaning of truth is really different from the meaning of truth in the case of science, and in the case of philosophy, in the case of logic. This is something which I have seen that some of the philosophers of religion has overlooked. It is very important to take it into account that the concept of truth in religion, a true religion, I would say, is very different from a true scientific theory or a true philosophical theory. Truth in these two different areas actually means different things altogether. So a kind of fallacy is being committed here. A fallacy is being committed here. There are philosophers, opponents of religious pluralism, opponent of scientific or philosophical pluralism, and their main argument is this, that since truth is one and only one, so we cannot have any pluralism in the case of truth. All pluralisms are because of the infiltration of the false ideas into your system, and once you eliminate those false ideas, you will have the single truth at the end, and that will be one and only one. Therefore, according to Hafiz,